All right, Dylan Hunt here from WSOU 89.5, sitting down with Christian and Tiaday from the band The World Over. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Great to be here with you, and thanks for coming in and sitting down to talk with me. I want to start with a little bit about the formation of the band, how you all came together to form this group.
The World Over and I, we were originally a band called Speakers of Infamy, and our music was terrible. We all formed at LA Music Academy, which is now LA College of Music. And, along the way, the music changed and people had to leave because of either visa issues or just decided music was not for them anymore. And we met Alejandro, our drummer, and then Christian Rivera who went to Musicians Institute. And so now it's the current lineup: Ryan Connect, who was with me from the very beginning, and then Juan on bass, Christian on rhythm guitar, and Alex on drums. And we all basically connected through our knowledge of music and just being from different backgrounds all over the world. And originally the name, we wanted to come up with something that could really encompass the fact that we are from so many different cultures and lifestyles and from around the world. And we just really felt like the world over meant, that's something that can really bring people together, and it has multiple meanings to it as well. So that's really what we wanted to describe. And for instance, I'm from Hawaii, Christian is from Baltimore, Juan is from Ecuador, and Ryan's from California, Alex is from Chicago. So that's kind of what we're all about in all of our different lifestyles and the way that we live.
Yeah, and how do you think that worldliness, how do you think that comes out in your music? Does it come out in your styles? Does it come out in your lyrics?
Yeah, a little bit of both, I'd say. Each album, at least for me specifically, when I'm writing lyrics, I tend to try to just come up with what the theme is from the beginning and kind of go from there to see what we want the album theme to be about, or if it's going to be an album, or if it's single by single or whatever. And so, sometimes, I do talk about those different themes about, in our last or most recent release, Artificial, one of our songs, To Be Human, is kind of about all of our human differences and inequality and things like that. But in our music, definitely, I'd say it kind of comes out naturally for everyone individually in their instruments. And especially just us having that background of going to music school, I think everyone has learned to be very well-rounded and not just stick to one straight path.
Nice. I wanted to ask you a couple questions about that new EP. How was the
Yeah.
recording process? I mean, COVID had happened March 2020. So how was that whole recording process for that?
So it's interesting because originally the songs on Artificial were supposed to also be on Elements, the previous record that we had put out. It was supposed to be a full length, but we decided to rework some of them, and we put out our top 5 or 6 that we liked from it originally released Elements, and then we reworked the other songs. And so we kind of wanted it to be like that polar opposite of Elements, and what's the opposite of something that's natural is just something that's artificial. And and so we had luckily we had recorded those songs pre-COVID, but we had people working on the mix and master and changing things and the elements of reproducing in the studio in their own time, out in the UK. So And that had kind of started the process like just before the pandemic had already started. So not much had really changed for us when we kind of got to that point. So I don't know. I think technology has really made things really accessible and a lot easier for musicians these days to be able to do that or work with someone who is across the country, you know, that they might want to work with but don't have access to. Um, but I know it doesn't really beat the vibe of the studio. You know, it's always different being in person and working with people, but the ability to do that is now accessible, which is great.
Absolutely, absolutely. I wanted to ask you, so what types of bands have really influenced your sound over the years? I mean, you've been together for 7 years, so I'm sure there's plenty of things that you've drawn influence from and inspiration from.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think also having Christian in the mix now, you know, having that newer outside influence changes things as well. You know, even if it's just sometimes to have that extra opinion of being like, hey, you don't glitter, your opinion sucks. Or hey, actually that is really good, we should like work on that more. Is really nice. I think the best part of being in a group that have known each other for so long is the ability to be open and honest with each other, and even if it's gonna piss the other person off, like you have to be able to set those things aside when you're working creatively together.
I understand that. So you've been on tour. You've been touring with OTEP now. How has that been through the pandemic?
So we had toured with her 2 times prior to this, and we're supposed to be on tour with her right now, but that got postponed. She got some really bad news that her brother died right before we were all supposed to go out. So, and understandably so, you know, things have got to be postponed so that you know she and her family can take care of things in order. So it got moved to February, the very beginning of February. I think she has yet to announce the official dates on her page, but that's you know the time frame that we're looking at. And then we basically will be getting 3 days off in between that before we hop right back on tour with Power Man 5000, which had also been a tour that was postponed for us, you know, due to COVID reasons. So um, I wish I could really tell you what it's been like to tour during these circumstances, but we don't know. We've just been itching and dying to go, but you know, things don't always go as planned. As much as we did get to do a local show out here in Los Angeles, which was nice at least, so we kind of got to warm our fingers up for like a hot minute.
What is a show that you've played in the past for the both of you that you could that sticks out to you that you could point out that that was one of the greatest shows that we've ever played?
Christian, do you want to go at least from your perspective? He has technically only played one show with us so far in this band because he joined right before the pandemic, and then you know, so I think he can speak from experience at least in his former bands.
Yeah, I mean the obviously the Viper Room show that we played back in July was pretty awesome. But you know, other shows previously, you know, I've shared the stage personally with some pretty awesome bands like Seether and Hailstorm, and so it was really nice getting out there and just being able to get out and connect with fans. I'm kind of like the type of person that I don't care if I'm playing for 5 people or 5,000 people, you know, I'm going to leave it all out on the stage and make sure that everybody that paid their good money to get in to see us gets what they paid for and more. And so for me, I guess it's kind of like a politician answer, but I feel like every show I play is memorable and it sticks out to me because I don't take any of that stuff for granted. It's you know, I have a I guess kind of a different perspective based on life experiences, and it's just, yeah, it's not something that I can take for granted. Every time I get to walk out on a stage is a blessing.
Well, how do I follow that? I agree, at least in the sense of, you know, we've always, like, we've had to learn, you know, hard lessons in the beginning stages of being a baby band, of playing to, you know, basically just the bartender sometimes and being like, ouch, man, that really hurts. but at the same time still, you know, putting on good faces and stuff, because it's, you know, the venue open, you know, they open for us to even be there or whatever. You know, you have to put on a good show. Doesn't matter how you're feeling or if something bad happened to you. And you know, like a time, like I think our very first tour we ever did as a band, Ryan and I, we almost died. We are like, our van had flipped, we had hit a patch of black ice, and luckily like our equipment was fine. We really came out of there okay, you know, and we were a little bit shaken up, but the opening band on that tour got scared about the fact that we got in the accident in the storm, and then they dropped off the tour. But we continued, and we continued playing. Like, we just took that day to like calm ourselves down and relax, and then make sure everything was all right. And then the next day we went back out. We're like, well, you know, gotta make sure that we can still play shows for people who came out and wanted to see us, you know. And so yeah, like, I mean, every show is like, feels like the reason that we're alive, you know. It's so much fun, and that just feels like the right place to be, you know, where we are in life. But definitely, I am going to say one of my favorite moments is being able to play a Warped Tour with Simple Plan. That was super, super cool, because I don't really think, you know, we're in the same genre that we would ever really have that opportunity to kind of play by their side ever. So, and then they were just the nicest, most humble guys, and they partied with us at the after party at Warped Tour, and they were just super nice, and they watched our show, and they're like, you guys are awesome. And it was just like, that was such a cool experience, just to be able to like know people that you grew up listening to, and them just being just down to earth, great guys. So that's the one for me.
Wow, that's the van. That's crazy. That right there. That's one of the crazy stories I've ever heard. What is for you, like, what is the difference between like a show that you're opening for someone or a show that you're headlining? Like, what's the dynamic between that?
Personally, I don't like the headline. That's just me though. I don't know. I don't really know why I like I feel like it's just more it's more precise. I feel like also just bands that are bigger than us, if they're already headlining, then they've kind of gotten more experience, or they've got more of their together. Whereas I think we're a little bit more casual. So, you know, I guess I would say that would be the only real difference. I mean, sometimes we've had to be on tour with really strict headliners where, you know, there's a lot of rules to follow, or there's no drinking allowed, and that's fine too, because we don't really drink that much anyways. Or we've been on tours with party guys like Escape the Fate, and you know what, and they want to party, or you know, or they're really fun and they actually want to hang out with you. So I don't know. I think it depends, but I prefer opening. I think it's fun to be able to get to be the artist that warms up the crowd for the headliner.
How would you say the band has evolved since the first EP, Rampart District 2014, to now Artificial? Do you see a large difference in the music at all?
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a big difference. I mean, and that also just comes from, you know, who are the outside influences, you know, who's producing it, or, you know, if what members were in the band at the time, or, you know, what we felt like doing, just, you know, in general. Like for Elements, specifically for that EP, I really wanted to have all the lyrics be about like the physical manifestation of elements. So whatever that, you know, sorry, text, whatever that would be, like I wrote, you know, ocean was about my wife, and like, you know, a love that is like, if between the sea and, you know, the sand or whatever, and it's pushing and pulling away. And or about what was it, we did drought, how I wrote, it just felt like when my father passed away, it felt like I needed to shut the faucets tight, and it felt like just a dry bed of emotion, you know, that, and that was kind of how I wanted to impersonate those things into different emotions and feelings and things that people go through. So, and then artificial is really kind of about a lot of different aspects of life that feels kind of fake, you know, or not 100% true. So it just kind of depends. But yeah, the physical sound or what you hear is different each time, mostly because of producers, or we try to switch things up with different production each time. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you're working on a full length right now, is what I've read. How has that been?
It's been good. We may have changed that decision again too. It just depends. I don't know. We definitely have a good amount of songs in our back pocket right now that we are sitting on, and we're really excited to show off. So you know, when things are wrapped up with mastering and stuff like that, and we've got a couple of videos underway for some of those songs. When those are ready to go, then you know, we can't wait to share it with everyone. I think those are going to be really cool.
Oh, what do you think? What went into the writing process on these new songs here?
Well, we started working with a producer named Hiram Hernandez. He's worked with a lot of different artists. One of his most recent songs that had come out from a bigger artist was from I Set to Kill, Face the Rain. He produced, and he's been really fun to work with. He's a very fast producer and writer. He likes to really get his hands dirty with writing as well. So it's been really fun to be able to do that and have like that outside input. And again, it was really fast. One of the songs we did produce during the pandemic over Zoom, which was really fun. Christian got to be a part of that one. And it was really interesting. We all kind of were hesitant, thinking like, oh, well, maybe, you know, this song won't turn out as good because we won't be in person to have that in-person vibe, but it actually worked out really well. And we were able to all kind of like have our own studio set up, at least to just be able to record directly and give him a direct audio to send to him once we got our ideas down, and then just emailed back and forth, you know, while on a live feed. And again, because he works so fast, I think that's what made it work really well. I don't know if I can say the same for others, but that's at least how it was for us, and it's been really fun. He's a really creative guy, and he really envelops all of our ideas really well.
Nice, nice. So for your upcoming tours, like what's the expectation here? How are you feeling about them?
Christian?
Man, I am chomping at the bit. Like, I'm just ready to go and just burn these places down. Well, I shouldn't say that. Just go, you know, just get out there and kill it. It's been several years now since I've been on the road, and look, being able to create or play music with my best friends and travel and do all that stuff. I mean, that's what I live for. And so for me, the expectation is just to get out there, give these audiences the best show that, you know, I can possibly give, and just have a lot of fun and make a lot of new memories.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, definitely.
What would be, I'm trying to think, like what would be the dream tour for both of you?
Who? I think playing with Bermuda Horizon or Paris would be super, super dope, personally. What about you, Christian?
I think it would be pretty cool if, you know, like Metallica took us on a stadium tour, like around the world over, you know, in all the different countries that they go to. I mean, that would be awesome. But, you know, I would love, more realistically, I'd love to get out there with Hailstorm. They're so much fun, and they're such a great band, and they're such great people, that I know that, like, you know, with us being on the road, not only with the music complement, you know, each other, but also just on a personal level, I know we'd have a lot of fun, and you know, our fans would love them, their fans would love us, and I think it would just be great.
Growing up, what were some of your favorite bands?
Well, his is definitely Metallica.
It's one of them. Should I keep going, or are you going?
Yeah, keep going. You can keep going.
Okay, so growing up, yeah, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, Metallica, Slayer, Pantera, Death, Sepultura, a lot of the heavier bands, some punk. AC/DC was one of the first bands I ever watched that kind of made me want to pick up a guitar because Angus Young just makes it look so damn easy. I'm like, wow, he looks cool, and and it sounds good. But bands like that in the beginning, and then as I grew older, I like to compare it to a tree. Like rock and metal were like the foundation and the roots, and then it spread out as I grew older and my taste became more sophisticated. So then I started getting into blues and jazz artists like Coltrane, Miles Davis, Stevie Ray Vaughan on the blues side, and it's continuing. It's a continuous like growth process. So
yeah, definitely.
Your turn.
Influences. Well, I mean, one of my first like rock influences growing up was Pink. She's just so I love listening to her stuff. That was like one of the first CDs I ever got from my dad. He got me the Pink one where she's like laying out on the couch all cute and stuff. And I had that, and then I had the next CD that I ever bought was Simple Plan's No Knee Pads. And that like I just listened to the living out of. And then I learned about LimeWire and started downloading a crap ton of like Joan Jett and Linkin Park, and then other like broken viruses to my computer.
I was going to say that one band, the Viruses.
Yeah, and as I grew up, like Linkin Park really was like a big standout band for me as I got into more of like a rock and metal world, because there was like this one band called 12 Stones that I had heard when I was walking through Target as a kid, and I really loved them. It was like my first song that I ever heard that had like screamo in it or whatever, and then people were like, oh, well, if you like them, you'll like Linkin Park. I was like, oh yeah, okay. And so those are definitely one of my biggest influences. But and for specifically the Mountains record, our biggest influence for that one was the Deftones. And I think for Artificial, the bigger influences was Bring Me the Horizon, at least for the instrumental side of things. So those are kind of like my main things. And then as I went to music school, I started, I wanted to be more well-rounded. So I started listening to other stuff. We had like an American standards class. So I had to learn like a lot of like older American tunes. And then we like did like world music class where we all did like sing in Portuguese and stuff, or in Brazilian. And that was really cool. Wow, that was ignorant. Not in Brazilian, I mean, Spanish. And so I feel like through that, like I learned a lot of different music that I learned to like. And just in general, growing up, my dad, he would sing a lot of gospel and R&B. So I grew up with like listening to basically Stevie Wonder on the house, like constantly. So that was like another huge influence for me.
That's fantastic. And I think I could hear everything that you mentioned in your music. I mean, it is your music is so you can't pin it down. You can't pin it down. It's a lot of different things all together, and it comes out and it's great. Where can we find you? What do you have to plug for us?
Christian, do you want to do the plugging?
Yeah, I mean, you can find us at all the normal spaces, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Instagram and Facebook are World Over Official. Twitter is World Over Band. And then we're also on TikTok. We got that thing going on. I think that's still the World Over Official as well, right?
I believe TikTok. So, yeah. That or just the World Over, yeah.
Or something like that, yeah. And
look
for it, you'll find us. And
Spotify.
Spotify, Apple Music, any digital or any platform where music is sold or streamed, you can find us there. We're everywhere.
All right. Well, you'll be out here in New Jersey in Clifton on February 25th. So we look forward to seeing you. And thanks for joining me today. It's been a great talk.
All right.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Clint.
much. We'll make sure to send us an email so we can guest list you.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. You have a
All
good
right. Take
day.
care, Dylan. Thank you so much for having us.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you for
Bye, man.
coming.